I'm just saying there's a different level of vulnerability that a woman will have with a woman and a man will have with a man.
Yeah, like police officers in general, unsung heroes. And I definitely feel like, a lot of officers suffer from PTSD.
There's a liability portion when it comes to being a police.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to protect both the civilians and the officers.
Welcome back to the IA Guy, a police podcast here with your host, Marlon Marrache. I almost said the internal affairs, a police podcast, but you know what? It's all internal affairs. Two other special guests. Thanks to Paul Alex for inviting Gianni and Nadia. Thanks for showing up.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here, man.
Paul gives me a call and says, hey, I'm bringing these two former cops that are part of the business, a part of this, this movement, if you will. So I appreciate you guys coming down.
Absolutely, sir. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah,
man.
no, for sure.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? Before we get into everything, look, I do know college, studying business.
Yes.
And all of a sudden we get into law enforcement, right?
Yes.
What was that all about?
I just had a calling on my life to just do something bigger. And what was bigger than serving your community?
Right.
Right, especially in a city. I was in the Bay Area.
Okay.
Especially in a city like Oakland. I actually applied to no other agency except for Oakland.
Wow. Okay. Now, let me ask you this. Did college help out when you went into the academy?
Absolutely not. It had no bearing on anything that I learned in the police department, academy, nothing.
Not even a report writer or anything like that?
I probably shouldn't even been in college, to be honest with you. I don't know how they got me in there.
Well, you're not alone, because I am a high school dropout, and believe it or not, somewhere in my journey, I ended up in law school. So, all I ever wanted to do was to be a police attorney and just defend cops, because that it's kind of like my calling, right? Let's see, Marine.
Yes, sir.
Semper Fi, right? I guess the question I have for you is, when you were in high school, is that like something that you just had to do, or did it just kind of happen? What do you think?
Yeah, Marlon, that's a great question, brother. Dude, ironically, I know you're in the Navy as well, but my uncle, shout out to my Uncle Carlos, looked up to him, would come to our house, he was stationed up in Groton, freaking Coronado, all over the place, would be on the subs, destroyers, all that, and ended up going SWIC. So I always looked up to the Navy, right? Especially seeing those whites, like, freaking Tom Cruise and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And Top Gun.
That's right.
So, dude, if anything, it would have been the Navy, right?
Yeah.
And ironically, my uncle was working as a recruiter at the time in Miami.
Okay.
And when I was looking at joining the military, I was in community college. But guys, I got to tell you, I suck at math.
Okay.
So once they got the alphabet and they got the numbers and they like combined them, I'm like, I don't know what X equals to Y or what's going on. I'm out of here, reserve parachute. But I saw a buddy of mine come back and he was in his dress blues. From the Marine Corps, and I went to a recruiter. They have kind of all the offices over there. I was gonna go to the Navy and the Army. There's a Marine like smoking a cigarette, in his dress blues, and no offense is what I love all branches, even the Space Force. Shout out to you guys, right? But the Marine recruiter looks at me, the sergeant, and he's like, "Hey man," with a cigarette. He's like, "If you're in a foxhole, do you want to be a sailor?" I'm like, "No." He's like, "Do you want to be a soldier?" And I was like, "Maybe." And he was like, "What about a Marine?" And I was like, "Where do I sign?" So, yeah, he was good. Shout out to Marine Corps recruiting, right? So before I knew it, I was in Paris Island, man, on the Yellow Footprints. But I never thought I'd be in the military. I actually grew up with asthma.
Okay.
I couldn't even play soccer,
Okay.
play football, no sports. Really bad asthma. I'd have the nebulizer mask and all that stuff. Yeah, very bad asthma, guys. And once again, the recruiter, he's out now. But, when they ask about asthma, I was like, yeah, I was being honest, obviously.
You did.
And then he looked at me again, and he was like, "I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Do you want to be a Marine?" And I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "All right, no." Right? So
let me touch on that real quick, because no one really knows this. But when I joined the Navy, I did it because my dad was a retired admiral. Shout out to my dad. In the Peruvian Navy, and I remember when I dropped off to what we call MEPS.
Yep.
Right?
Yep, we had MEPS.
Military
Yep.
Entrance Processing Station or whatever. And before I walk in the door, I asked my recruiter, I say, hey, man, what do I tell them about, like drug use or if I have any medical condition? He goes, listen, young man, when you walk in through those doors, your first name is no, your middle name is none, and your last name is never. And I will pick you up at 5 p.m. after you swear in. I'm going, okay, roger that, right? So mind you, you know this, 400 plus people like at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And you can see there's a whole bunch of lines. And someone would say, hey, who here has had marijuana? Me. Okay, all of you stand on this line. So by the time I went through the whole process and I stuck to no, none, never, I want to say about 40 of us actually just swore in out of like 400 plus.
Yeah.
So
it's wild because they did the same thing. They made us put our heads down like this on the desk. And they're like, guys, nothing's going to happen. We just want to know. And then, of course, I'm like peeking up and you see like half the room get wiped out. And the recruiters are just pissed as hell. They had them pass the physical, all this stuff. But yeah,
that's
definitely
awesome.
remember
You know,
that.
I'm going to get some hate for this before we move on, but I never understood the royal blue pants with that red stripe going down your back, and then a tan top with a white hat. I got to go all white, bro. That's
all
just
white,
me.
man. It matches.
It matches.
You know?
It matches. Well, thank you for sharing that. Now, let me ask you this, because apparently at some point did that help? I mean, the discipline actually helps in the academy. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. So ironically, when I was in the academy, most of the instructors were Marines.
Okay.
So I was just like, all right, this is kind of familiar. But the one thing was they were old school Marines, right? So they were used to shining their boots.
Uh-huh.
We were in the desert. We didn't have no leather boots that we had to shine.
Right.
So they thought all the Marines or all military knew how to shine their boots. So they're like, hey, all the military guys train up all the civilians how to shine up their boots. And we're like, yo, bro, we've been in a desert for the past 30 years. We have desert boots. Nobody ever issued us like jungles or nothing like that, you know?
Right.
So was a learning curve for that. But besides that, I would say it definitely helped with the discipline. Obviously, the marching,
Yes.
doing colors,
Waking
all
up
that
early
stuff.
and all that good stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, we had a commuter academy, so we were out of there by like 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty nice. So everyone would be like freaking out. They're like, no, they're gonna take our lunch, and we're just like, dude, you know,
You
this
get to go
compared to
home.
boot camp, you're going home. I'm
That's
gonna
what I
play
always say.
PlayStation. Like, calm down, bro. Like,
Right?
we have 2 more
Come
hours.
3 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's all I thought I'm going to do. I'm going home.
Exactly. That's it, man.
Now, let me ask you this. What's the most challenging, as you reflect on it today, what was the most challenging part of the academy?
Probably just not getting in trouble. We're a bunch of knuckleheads just going out every night. Just because we thought it would be a great idea for all of us to study together, and none of us actually ended up studying. We always end up drinking at the bar called Linguini's. It's now closed in Alameda, California. Shout out Linguini's. Shout out to class 158.
Okay.
That was our academy class, and just literally just making sure we're squared away when we come back to it. We were all in our early 20s, just trying to get by, trying to learn what it is that we need to learn.
Taking those tests, those learning domains.
Exactly, those learning domains, the LDs for sure, LDs for sure. Taking copious notes, trying not to fall asleep,
Right.
and just making sure we get through it.
Yeah.
So I would say that would be the hardest part, because when you're in the middle of the academy, you're building a lifetime bond with people who are going to go into the trenches with you. So while you're building this bond, you also have to be administratively sound.
Yeah.
You have to learn the LDs. You have to learn the radio codes. You have to learn personalities, because it doesn't necessarily translate into the streets, but it gives you a good foundation to when you actually enter the street.
I take it, I can ask you the same, as you have the friends for life
100%.
to your class and your classmates. To this very day, you can call them
100%.
and you guys get together.
Some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
yeah,
all.
yeah,
Not all at all.
Not all.
Not going to name any names.
You know, for the record, I'm with you too.
For sure.
Shout out to my boy Ramiro and my boy Chief and Javi Borrego Cabrera. You guys know who you are. I talked to him to this very day. We're 27 years in, amongst others, but those are the two we just always get together. So I appreciate that. Let me touch on this, because you brought up a good point, and I want to go one direction with you. How many females were actually in your class?
see,
Now we're going back to 2006.
2006,
This
man.
was about almost 20 years
right.
ago.
So my peer group's going into year 20. So we started with 26, we started with 36, ended with 24. Out of the 24, there were 4 of us.
4 of you. Mm-hmm. Right. Now, let me ask you this, as you reflect on it now, I'm not going to say this is difficult, but is there more females now than before, or what's your thoughts on that?
It's about the same. I came out of Oakland, so Oakland it's a little more difficult. The hours are different. So Post has a certain requirement, police officer standards and training, for those who don't know
Yeah,
what that acronym
in
means.
Post.
But Oakland itself has a higher standard just because of the type of workload that we have to endure. So the amount of women, it's a little bit more, but it's still about the same. And the retention is a little bit better because they changed some of the requirements just to retain more people in general, men and women.
Correct.
So I see that was happening more than anything else.
Right. I take it there's some bias with female officers?
In what regard?
In the regards that perhaps you have to prove yourself more than just the male officer.
Well, I had
What's
that
your
chip.
thoughts?
I definitely had the chip on my shoulder. I'm not a man. I'm not gonna fight you like a man. I'm not gonna think like you do. So I have to navigate the world differently. And definitely in policing, I have to navigate it a little differently. So I would say where your strengths were, I had certain weaknesses, but where your weaknesses were as a man, and there's no offense, I could pull my strengths out a little bit more. Like you touched on earlier, report writing. And I say it in jest, but college did not prepare me for report writing because it's a completely different style. Depending on what you do, that style is going to be different.
Yes.
I worked a lot of undercover, so my style was different than a patrol officer.
Yeah.
So where my strength was, it had to be verbal judo, because I'm not going to fight you. There's no negotiation with you. It's, listen, you got 2 chances with me. You either listen, or we go taser, or bring on my boys. What do you want?
Yeah. Push the button and my boys will
What
get
do you
here.
want?
Yeah.
It's your choice. So I would say, like, being a woman is just, you have to know what your strengths are. You have to understand that you're a woman, and this is a man's world.
That's what I was going to say. It's very male dominant. We can all agree to that.
Yeah,
To this very day.
And we got to understand, like, there's this whole push of we're equal, but we're not created equally. I'm not going to arm wrestle Gianni. I'm not going to arm wrestle you. No. But I may be able to outthink you in certain aspects. Where certain men go brawn to brawn, I'm not going to come in with that. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I totally 100% get you. I would only add that I was always a true believer of if there's a rape investigation or a sexual assault, child molestation, any of those really sensitive, fragile environments that we as police officers go to help, to serve, to protect, to investigate, I probably won't be the one having that interview.
Exactly. And I would actually try to take that on just because I knew it. Because, like, as a woman, like, I don't want to reveal my worst violation to another man after a man just violated me. How would I be comfortable in that level of vulnerability?
100%.
Even domestics, it's the same thing.
Yep.
So I'll tell you a story. I had a young lady. I was in my rookie season. She was an older Hispanic lady, and she was with her husband for 20 years. And I actually ended up sitting with her after my shift for about 4 hours. She was trying to get out of it, and so I sat there and talked with her. I took her we had an assessment center at the time. I don't know if it's still there. We had an assessment center at the time for those dealing with domestic violence situations. I ended up running to her 6 months later. I didn't recognize her, but she recognized me. She comes up to me and she said, "Thank you, because you sat with me for 4 hours. I left." And I'm not saying that you wouldn't do that, but I'm just saying there's a different level of vulnerability that a woman will have with a woman and a man will have with a man.
Yeah.
So even if it's a man going through certain situations, just like you said, because it happens, not as
Yes.
often, but it happens, another man would be best to probably handle that.
No, 100%. I was going to say spot on with that one. Obviously, Nadia and I from Cali.
Yes, sir.
I know you spent some time in Cali, but you tell me where was the academy at?
It was in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Bridgeport, Connecticut. God, when I think of Connecticut, I think it's cold.
Yep.
I think it's like I don't know why, but
Like
I just
oak
keep thinking
trees?
there's trees.
Yeah, there is a lot
and the
of trees.
streets are wide.
Yep,
and,
yep.
and then the houses have like a huge backyard.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty spot on for the most part. Like when most people think of Connecticut, you probably think like Martha Stewart, like people.
Well, I think of
skateboarding.
Dan Patrick because Dan Patrick's my guy.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
I love DP. The DP show, Dan Patrick, shout out.
Hell yeah, man.
It's in Connecticut, as you
Oh, dude, hell yeah.
Yeah. So when he quit ESPN, a little bit of story about Dan Patrick after almost 20 years in
Yep.
ESPN.
Yep.
he
ESPN's
actu-
over in Connecticut. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. New Britain.
He went to his attic in his house. He grabbed a couple of his coworkers, and next thing you know, they started a show, the Dan Patrick Show, and now it's a multi.
They're killing it.
They're killing it. So, well, now that we're in the academy, both of us, here's the question I have for the both of you is 2006 and 2016,
16. Yep.
right? What was your impression of internal affairs back then compared to today as we're having this conversation? And has that impression changed? If so, how? What do you think?
So my first interaction was actually doing my background. So I had the internal affairs sergeant, go to my neighbors, ask them, hey, was I a knucklehead? Just talk to individuals. And they were super positive. They came inside, were like talking with me, my grandma, my family. My grandma's bringing out little cafecito. Shout out Colombian grandmas, right? And all that stuff, tinto. And it was very positive. They were like talking Spanish. It was a Puerto Rican sergeant, super nice.
Okay. So
And,
their backgrounds was IA.
Yep, I would do the backgrounds. Yeah.
Wow,
Yep,
okay.
I would do the backgrounds 100%, and they did it and everything like that. Super positive. And then besides that, they would come in the academy. But in the academy, when they would come in, it was more like death by PowerPoint type stuff. Like, hey, we had to go through this. So what? You definitely don't know what to expect. And then obviously, once you're with other officers that are coming in, and some of them would get banged up, jammed up by IA, and they'd be in the academy, and so it wasn't really the most positive stuff, right? They'd be like, we'd use them for martial arts and whatnot, and they're like, yeah, I got jammed up some over here for you guys. You just see a random cop pop up that you saw in the news earlier, right? And so it wasn't that positive, but at the same time, I could only judge them for my interaction, and it was positive up until that point in the academy.
Okay. Has your impression changed about internal affairs as you sit here today?
I would say so, and obviously it depends on each department. Unfortunately, I felt like it was super politicized.
Okay.
At that point, it was BLM protests and all that, and it just wasn't, I would say, fair. Once again, I could only speak on the department I was with.
Correct.
Don't want to put it across the board. I know you guys have a very tough job, being law enforcement and having to investigate other officers. I definitely would not want to be in those shoes.
Okay.
So shout out to IA guy.
That's right.
Right? Yeah, toughest job. But I would say in this case, it was more politicized, and it was used more almost as a tool in a way to basically, for political purposes. And, obviously, if you fuck up, guys, can I curse on here?
Oh, you can do whatever you want,
100%,
bro.
right.
Done now.
No, double dog coming out. Yeah. So, hey, if
I'll
you
beep it if you want.
hell yeah, dude. PG. But I was going to say, like if you fuck up, just take ownership for it, right? If I go out and I'm a Dewey boy, I fucked up, bang me with it, whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? But for other stuff, and like we were talking about off camera, if it's on duty and there's some crazy shit, you got a couple seconds to react to something, especially if it's life or death. Hey, it's a little bit more, not as black and white, it's a little bit more gray area.
Yeah. You did mention the word tool. I think what you were trying to say, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you can use internal affairs to weaponize someone.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah.
So if there's like a certain, political entity at that moment,
You can just call IA and get you in trouble.
exactly, that's it. And now you got a couple officers crucified. The civilian population, is going to be, for the most part, happy. They win re-election and so on and so forth.
Nadia, what do you think?
So I was just turned 24. So I'm just trying to, again, get through the academy. I'm having the time of my life with my friends, doing hood rat shit with my hood rat friends. You know what I mean? And it's like, IA is, you hear grumblings, but
Okay.
it's not like a forethought.
Right.
Because I'm not on the street yet. I really don't understand what it means.
Right.
That's just my personal take.
Right.
Because I need to feel it as well. I remember
Right.
getting my first IA case. They said I said something, I didn't. Went through the IA process, it was fine. I later became a sergeant, so I had to actually investigate IA cases, low-level
do
IA
intakes.
cases. Yes, I do intakes, investigate low-level IA cases as well. I'm about 10 years removed now. So the view now, it's multifaceted because, like, there's a liability portion when it comes to being a police. And you want to protect both the civilians and the officer. You don't want corruption on either side. You don't want police officers overstepping their bounds. You don't want that color of authority coming into play. You want people to be above board because you have to be above board because you're asserting authority. You have authority. You're coming in with a badge, a gun, handcuffs, extra magazines, a lot of power. So you don't want somebody coming in abusing that. So if IA needs to be involved, then so be it. But there's the other, like you said, the weaponized portion. I worked at Oakland. It was what it was. We used to say that same thing. It was weaponized to a certain extent and abused to a certain extent. In which you have officers that were once doing the job effectively, and I say effectively very relatively and subjectively, to not doing it at all. So it's like, where's the balance?
Good point. Good point. What I was going to ask you is, could we all agree that we use the word transparency, this buzzword, in such a way that with the public, we're very transparent? We tell them about critical incidents. We're out there doing sound bites, let them know, for the most part, sensationalized or newsworthy, events. We tell them about all that. But haven't you always wondered, how transparent are we amongst ourselves? What do you think?
I would say, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, it's literally almost like high school. Like if you're sitting in the cafeteria, just hearing rumors about who likes who's going to fight someone after school. It's just like that. So, my experience with it is sometimes I would find information even about myself on the news before anyone even told me.
Wow.
Yeah. Or like, and I understand the way it is, like, other officers trying to look out for you, keep your morale up, because especially the department I was with, there was a lot of officer suicides. So if somebody got jammed up or something, they'd always be like, hey man, I heard it's on chief's desk. They're going to take care of you. Don't worry. You're going to be back or something. Right. So, and obviously the opposite would end up happening typically, but, I would say within, the department, especially the one I was with, wasn't really a lot of transparency. You would see stuff first, either on the news or while you're out lineup, you'd be hearing different rumors, right?
Yeah, and I asked that because we preach what? The thin blue line, right? We're this big happy family, and yet we just can't be transparent amongst ourselves. I mean, someone gets in trouble, like you said, you just hear it through the grapevines. And here we are talking about the academy. You mentioned death by PowerPoint. So that certainly didn't stick to you. It's not like you walked away saying, "Oh wow, internal affairs is, I got to watch," and you in the academy, you probably didn't have any knowledge. And the point I'm trying to make is the unknown of this particular function. I think we owe it to our recruits from day one what this function is about. What do you think?
100%. I think just a knowledge base. So you have an understanding what may come at you and how to deal with it moving forward. And understanding there is a public perception from the civilians and there's an internal perception, and then how to manage that. Because that's the thing that you're talking about, that transparency, that's not covered.
Right. We do it with the public.
Exactly.
But we don't do it amongst ourselves.
At all.
And I didn't cover this with Paul, right? Earlier, before you guys came on, would you think maybe, and here we are, the LDs, look, I'm with you. I just want to graduate. Let's all, and I didn't talk about this with Paul, but even if, did that by PowerPoint, you're like, okay, great. You know what? I just want to graduate.
That's it.
And we're sitting here taking exams, LDs, like every other day, like crazy. All we want to do is just graduate. So even if someone did come in and say, hey, look at us, we're from internal affairs, let me tell you what we do, it's probably not going to register, because I'm just trying to graduate. But maybe, and I think this is where I like to, head with this, is the fact that, how about if we bring someone that actually got fired?
Yeah.
A story of, hey, you know what? I used to be in that seat, and let me tell you what happened to myself, because I want to make sure it doesn't happen to you. I think that kind of resonates. and we owe it. What do you think?
100% agreed, because they literally lived it and experienced it. I got jammed up, you know, I ended up getting terminated. And it's like, if I can go back and tell myself like, hey, X, Y, Z, and even if that helps one other officer, you know, I feel like that would help a lot, because like I was talking about, it's like when you're getting jammed up, especially, you know, most officers, you know, above reproach, do a good job, never been in trouble, never anything like that. Obviously, that's why they got hired. You know, I feel like it would be good. Or even something I was thinking about, almost like a third party, like contractor. The city hires you out. They spend all this money
That's
on the
right.
4 pillars of policing.
Yes.
And all this, you know,
Fancy
coloring
stuff.
books. Yeah, all this fancy terms and all that. If they bring like a third party, you know, because right now, civilian contractor come in, so you have no ties to them. And you're like, hey, guys, this the way it works.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody tell you any different.
Yeah, I think someone, hey, I fucked up. Let me tell you how I did it.
Exactly.
You know what? And just, let's be real.
Yeah.
You want transparency? I think that's it.
That's it, baby.
Okay. Let's move on. Having a good time here. Let's see. Room full of sergeants right now, today. You're at the podium. Let's go with Gianni first. They're getting ready to begin their tour of internal affairs as an investigator. What's the one thing you want them to know about that job?
I would just tell them that it definitely carries a lot of weight and penalties that, and obviously I'm sure they already know that it's not only felt with that individual officer, but also their entire family. Like literally when I was going through my stuff, I had like my grandma who's like in her 80s. She's like watching the news and stuff, seeing, you know, any stuff about me. But I would also say, especially when it comes to stuff on duty, right, involving, you know, criminals and stuff like that, that, you know, when you have split-second decisions, that officer might not make the right decision, or maybe not what is agreed upon. But if they're acting, you know, with a good heart and not doing anything malicious or obviously criminal, that, you know, that should definitely be put towards them in a positive light. Obviously, you want to remain neutral and do your job, and I understand it's a tough job. But at the end of the day, you know, if they're not out there doing bad stuff, I would just view their history and, you know, use that towards any decision-making process.
Oh, good, good. Nadia, what do you think? What would you tell them?
Well, one thing I used to tell my guys was, I've been there. And I intentionally put myself in those situations as a young officer. I did a lot of different assignments. I was in a lot of places throughout Oakland, and so now I can speak to it. So when if I were in the middle of a bunch of sergeants, I would first tell them to think about yourself at that age, think about yourself that year, and think about how you would feel in this particular situation, whether it's ranging from, we had a complaint once where somebody said this cop had racist eyes, that went through. It's Oakland, it is what it is. Or if you're involved in an OIS, like those type of feelings, emotions, stress are all gonna have some sort of impact. So think about yourself, put yourself in that officer's shoes, then add in whatever policy and procedure you need to complete.
Yeah.
So when you do your write-up, you submit it as a whole holistic report rather than I'm just gonna nail this guy to the cross. Because what a lot of departments, I'll speak of my department, or my old department. Sometimes there would be people who had very little street experience, making these very crucial life-changing decisions, changing the course of their life, their family's life, taking away their all their money, their pension, you name it. And all for what? Because you wanted to promote? It's a bunch of bullshit. Yeah. So until you put yourself in those shoes, until you walked in those shoes, to me, I would be hard pressed to write that report in such a way where you're just going to terminate that officer, terminate that sergeant, investigate them in such a way where they feel villainized, because 9 times out of 10, and I say 9 out of 10 because, you know, there's always that one, of course,
Yes,
right?
there's
That's
1%. We
always
can agree
that
to
one
that.
you know, they're doing the best that they can. They made a judgment call, and it's like that.
Yeah. Mistake of the heart.
What are you going to do?
Absolutely. Well, I know you have an IA story because you're speaking from experience.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And let's see, what do you think is the biggest lessons you've learned from your IA that you were involved in? What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, the crazy part is, you know, when you get on, you want to go out there. I was super proactive, right? But the veteran cops, not speaking on all of them, but they'd always be parked up, drinking Dunkin' Donuts, and they're like, hey, man, we got 25 years here. Just park up. Or they would actually tell us because the department was super busy that they'd be like, hey, man, do your time here, get certified, go to a nice little lily fence department, hang out, you'll make double the money, watching like, a deer on a cul-de-sac with cones up making overtime, right? So they would say that, and then in our head, we'd be like, they're just saying that because they want to make more overtime. They want us out of here, so I'll be getting called more. But now looking back at it, they were actually trying to protect us, right? Because they had been through that. They'd been through IA, and obviously we didn't know that. So, a lot of times, and I hate to say it now, but a lot of times just, hey, taking your calls, not trying to go, which I hate to say, guys, because I was super proactive, but kind of keeping your head down a little bit, and I didn't know because at the time there definitely was a political change happening with the BLM protests and all that. And when I first got on, we didn't even have body cameras. So we were just straight, rolling out there, whatever we were, obviously our reports and all that. But I would just say to, that the biggest thing I would do, one, always take your time with everything, right? If you're on a felony traffic stop, it doesn't matter what it is, right? Think about what you're doing. But also a big thing, and then I always told myself that I'd rather be judged by 6 than carried by 12. So you always want to look out for yourself and other officers. You never want to delay something. And like if we were a squad right now, something happened and guys, we're doing a hit or something, guys come up with an AK, that split second could cost his life or Nadia's life. And you know what? You got to do what you got to do. So you got to ride that fine line.
Yeah. Totally up to you if you want to share your details of your IA. But what you got involved, it wasn't IA.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, IA was completely involved.
Yep.
Did you, when it was adjudicated, did you get any suspension at all for your actions?
So I was suspended for 30 days, I want to say.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. As you reflect on it today, would you have given yourself 30 days? Or what do you think?
Well, 100%. I would have banged myself if I was in the sergeant's position. But what I would have did is, and something Nadia touched on, is a lot of times they just want to crucify someone, get it out to the news. Hey, look what we did to this officer. But it's like, hey, at the time I was a lot younger, right? I definitely would have been like, hey, whether it's retraining or something like that, just something more of value, kind of like what Nadia touched on, which I 100% agree on, something more holistic rather than just, hey, we're going to bang you, you're 30 days suspended, not getting paid, you got your wife and kids. Because, right, let's keep it real, guys, it's going to make you pissed off. Then you come back on and you're just wanting to be posted up, not doing anything, hiding behind a middle school, in the middle of the day.
You're right. Well, I got a follow-up question to that. If you don't mind sharing with us, how long did it take from the time that you were I-8 and it started up until the time that you took your 30-day suspension?
Guys, this is the worst part. About 3 years.
Okay.
And 3 years, no overtime. I'm admin. I'm doing fingerprinting, backgrounds on like teachers. I'm in the dog pound. I'm front desk, taking reports coming in. Everything you guys could imagine. I'm doing freaking the news is coming in. I'm like the public affairs officer. I was like the jack of all trades.
So you're a PIL also?
Well, not in like a title form, but like a deputy chief would see me and he's like, oh, Gianni, you're a good looking guy. You can talk good. Yeah, just talk to this reporter real quick. And I'm like, bro, like what the, I'm like on admin right now, bro. Like I'm a hot boy. Right. So I basically was doing a little bit of everything within the department. They would just send me, even like setting up a range, like just everything you could imagine.
Now, in those 3 years, was it actually being considered for criminal filings? Was that one of the reasons why?
So it was, but that got thrown out like within a couple months.
Okay, so you already knew that.
Yeah, it got thrown out. And like, let's keep it real, guys. Whenever you're going through like an IA or something, you're not trying to be like on a freaking, literally where you were bringing people up in the holding cells and all that. So I was just like, hey, the administrative stuff, I'll take that. But as a cop, you never want to be in a freaking mugshot. Let's keep it real. So once the criminal stuff, dissipated, went to like the state's attorney and whatnot, and didn't find anything criminal there. Obviously, and I was preparing for that. Like I told my wife, and I was like, hey, something happens, right? there's a garbage bag. No, I'm kidding. Right, dig up some money. But no, I did prepare myself. That super stressful. No cop wants to go through that.
Yes.
It really humbles you.
Yeah.
Right, as a person and as a police officer. But yeah, the toughest part was just waiting, and all my old squad mates and stuff, whatnot. They try and get your morale up, because we did have officers that committed suicide during like IA investigations when I was getting on, like even sergeants.
Would you agree with me that the punishment was the process?
100%, 100%.
Did you care about the 30 days?
Dude, if this is the thing, if you're gonna bang, you already know what you're gonna do. Just
Right.
do it.
Right.
I would rather them be like, "Hey, Johnny, what's up, brother? Dude, you're gonna take a 30-day ride. Go to Disney World with your family or something, bro.
Yeah.
At least give you like a heads up, so financially you're prepared for it.
Right.
Not just like day of,
Yeah.
boom, you're banged.
And who do we hold accountable for that? What do you think? I mean, this happened when? This must have happened.
Yeah, this is like 2022.
Okay,
yeah.
this is pretty
Pretty
recent.
recently, yeah.
Okay.
100%.
And well, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, it fucking sucks.
For a lot of reasons. One, we're trying to see how we can better this process.
Right.
One of many reasons why I decided to do this podcast is because, we do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
We eat our own.
We do, man.
And who do we hold accountable for that?
Yeah. And coming from the military, you come from camaraderie and all that, for any of the officers, doesn't matter who it is, if it's an officer down situation, everyone's going 120 miles per hour. You're risking your life for these people day in and day out. So I would say the biggest thing that I would hold accountable is probably 100% going to be the admin and politicians, because they're the ones that are dictating the SOPs, the way stuff goes down. Because let's keep it real, you're going through a lot of civilian review boards, all that stuff. But when it comes to, dishing out stuff, it's, from what I know, because obviously I know you got a lot more time in there, even though you're a young buck looking
Yeah,
self there,
no,
man. It's got to be the
yeah.
Peruvian genes, the ceviche.
I tell people,
All that
olive
fish.
olay. My mom had an olive olay little
bottle?
little bottle ever since I was 19.
Yeah.
Getting ready to turn 57. So,
Dude, I hope I look like you, brother. You're a stud, man. Looking good.
Thank you.
Hollywood over here. But what was I gonna say, man? But correct me if I'm wrong. Probably going back to the days you were on, was it like that, where it would just be bang, like no heads up, time in?
Oh
all that?
yeah, even worse,
Dude, exactly.
The shittiest part, and like this case that we were talking about earlier, for whatever reason, the practice
Yeah.
of internal affairs, and I can speak up and down California, not just LAPD, because I
Right.
teach.
All
Shout
up
out to
and down.
Savage Training Group,
Hell
where
yeah.
I teach internal affairs up and down the state of California, where for whatever reason we have the compelled interview, right, with the accused, and then we turn it in, and then all of a sudden someone says, you know what, I think they're lying. So let's just bang them up, write up that allegation, and then when it's time for Skelly, which is the serving process, you're like, WTF, dude, whoa, hold on a second, right? Now, that practice has got to change.
It does, yeah.
Right? And I'm with you. Look, I'm going to hold myself accountable like, you know what, I have to. Yes, I fucked this up. You know what? Give me my 30 now.
Yeah.
Or I would love to walk in the chief's office and say, hey, you know what, chief? How much you going to give me for this? How many days? You know what? Hey, Marlon, I'm going to give you 20. Roger that. Just give me those. Like, let me know when I can take those 20.
Exactly. And I was going to interject there, brother. I actually was going to say my situation could have been a deadly force. I decided to use something less lethal, right? And the actual chief came up to me and was like, hey, man, like a bunch of chiefs, we were watching it. We don't know why you didn't open fire on the suspect. You did such a good job. Don't worry. We're going to bring you right back. So the chief literally told me this to my face. By the way, that same chief ended up getting arrested by the FBI.
Yeah.
For corruption, cheated on the chief's test.
Wow.
Yep, got the answers from apparently a third party,
Can't make this
neutral.
stuff up,
You
man.
can't make it up, man, and ended up going to federal prison.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Nadia, I know you got an intake there somewhere or something.
So I have a bunch of intakes. I had a ton of complaints, and I actually quailed when we started getting because I started before cameras. So when the
Right.
cameras came on, they kind of shut off, because I'm a very direct communicator. And so my communication style, it was met with, you're a bitch, you're difficult, all the things. And it's just like, no, I'm just going to tell you what it is. Like I said earlier, you got two choices. So I got a lot of those style of complaints. So what I will say, I watched the evolution of our internal affairs department. And so, especially when the cameras came on, there was a change in how they deployed their punishment and dealt it out. So I remember one case in particular, there was a shooting and they broke down the camera footage. The suspect was shot 3 times. They broke it down and said, this one was good, this one was good, the third one was not. So you had scrutinization like that going on. And then, like I said earlier, the racist eyes, you had just constant complaints. And so you didn't know what to trust. So I had an OIS in 2013. The gun ended up being fake. I didn't know it at the time. And because there was an orange tip, he had it scraping it off. So up close and personal, you could see the little scrapes, but it was 19 feet from him. And so I couldn't see that. All I saw was a black gun pointing at me like this. End up shooting him, hit him, thought he was dead. He's alive. Sis, why'd you shoot me? All the shit, right? And then after which, I think I was on the sidelines for about 6 months because I wasn't sure because the investigation went so long. So so I started that morning of the shooting, 6 a.m. I didn't get out till after midnight because of interviews. My interviews consisted of internal affairs, homicide, the DA. So in the room with me, again, this is like close to midnight. 2 internal affairs, 2 homicide, 2 people on the phone. So this entire time I'm going through the shooting, I don't know any of the information. They know what they know because they do all their conducting of
And this is your administrative.
This is my administrative
compelled interview.
Yes, compelled interview. And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm going to get fired because it's been embedded in me. Because I don't know the level of discipline they're going to dole at me because I don't trust this department. I don't trust how they're going to handle it because I'm watching all these officers getting walked out, getting their jobs back, getting walked out, getting their jobs back. Having this complaint where it appears to be nothing be escalated up here and then they're terminated or they're suspended. And it's just like, well, what's going to happen to me? So no direct like Gianni in that sense. Sorry about you, dude.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have did that. I'm just joking. But it's that there's a domino effect when you create a culture of rooted in like unauthorized, whatever you want to call it, style discipline.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting. The follow-up question I have for your case, what happened to you, was the process to punishment?
Of course. I'm sitting on the sidelines every day at my house. Of course, reeling from the fact that I just shot somebody, almost killed this man, regardless of justification or not.
Correct.
Completely justified.
Yeah.
Completely justified, but it's still like you're still harming another human being in such a way where it's like, I'm a human being.
Of course.
And it hurts to see. It hurt to see me hurt somebody that way, and then also on the other side, like, am I going to get terminated?
Right.
For acting as if anybody else would have most likely acted.
So you got the impression that this particular process, if you will, they were going to ding you for
100%.
Your tactics that led up to the actual use of deadly force or even the deadly force.
Yes.
Basically the whole totality of circumstances from the beginning to the end.
Yes.
And you felt as though that, oh shit, you know what? I might lose my job after this.
Yes, it was a burglary call that turned into a 212-5 that's, a home invasion robbery that turned into me shooting this guy. It was a whole thing, happened in less than 2 minutes.
Right. Was it newsworthy?
100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
An Oakland female cop shoots another black guy.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
got it.
So that's the whole encounter. I was on overtime as well.
Yes.
So it's just,
Always overtime.
it's always overtime,
always
right?
overtime.
So it's just I'm going through this process in my head, like sleeping on my couch, can't even sleep on my bed, having nightmares of the whole incident because there's PTSD involved.
Right.
Again, you use deadly force, regardless of what people say. They say they're over it. It's going to affect you if you're not a psychopath or sociopath.
Right.
And so I'm dealing with that, and now also dealing with, am I going to lose my job?
Yeah. Just take me there. What is it do you think the department could have done different as you reflect on it today, if any, about this process?
I don't think there's anything different to be done, like in the scope of what happened from A to Z with the particular case.
Okay.
I think culturally.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying about
culturally,
the process.
Well, culturally, there needs to be something in place that officers can feel comfortable with doing what they need to do to handle business. Because unfortunately, there's historical stuff with police whether you call it race, sex, whatever it is, it's embedded in the culture. And then you have that validated by media, you have it validated by politicians, you have it validated by civilians, and they feel, of course, they have a certain authority because we're civil servants first.
Right.
Life and property are the things we protect. So that's what we must, that's the standard we must uphold to when we are talking to people, because we're customer service agents,
Yeah.
but to a very higher, very much a higher
Very well
standard.
said, very well said. You've been out for over
Almost
10
10
years,
years,
right?
almost 10 years, yes.
Let me ask you this. You think anything has changed that you're aware of? For the better, maybe?
I love the addition of cameras. It keeps people accountable on both sides, because I know they would talk to me a certain way, and I would just sit there like, what do I need to say to you? It's on camera.
Yeah, so you left pre body worn camera.
No, so I came on in 2006. I think we started getting cameras around 2011, 2012. So I had cameras, and I left technically, physically in 2016, retired in 18.
Okay.
So I had the whole gambit
Right.
from beginning, from
Yeah.
nothing to
Yeah.
remember the big ones?
Yeah, the body worn,
huge ones, the different trials of cameras, and just, again, like the accountability, I love that part.
Yeah.
What I don't like, again, is the culture behind IA and how the word weaponized is used.
Yeah, no, totally. Got more questions for you about your OIS, but we'll talk about some other time.
sure.
This is the one question, so contradicting. I don't like asking it, but I do like asking it. Worst incident in your career?
To me, man, it's definitely going to be a homicide of a 14-year-old girl. She was a refugee from the Congo, and apparently her stepfather had stabbed her in the bathroom, and he called 911, said that he killed her. Obviously, when you get calls like that, you're like, yeah, okay, you know. And then we get there, take him into custody, head upstairs. He literally, like, not to get too graphic, guys, because like Nadia was saying, like, shit like that sticks with you, and I feel like it's not talked about a lot, like police officers in general, unsung heroes. And I definitely feel like, a lot of officers suffer from PTSD. But literally, when you see that, and, he stabbed her so many times, basically almost decapitated her, and, then guess what? We got to be up there with the body for homicide to get there, get the van and everything out. And, it just really puts stuff in perspective, especially anything that happens to children, right? And I'm not a detective, guys, never was, but why the hell would a stepfather be in the bathroom with a 14-year-old female, right? So obviously, guys, you can take it from there, and the detectives agreed with me from that. So I'd say that really stuck with me, just anything that had to do with the elderly, individuals that were like disabled, and children always stuck with me. I mean, there's countless drownings and stuff like that, but that one just really stuck because, I'm up there by myself hours protecting the scene for homicide to get there, pitch black, and, you could smell the blood like pennies coagulating and all that. And it's just sad to see a life loss, over a deranged individual. Shit like that really sticks with you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Nadia, worst incident in your career?
Man, I go through this range whenever I'm asked this question because I've seen a 12-year-old trafficked before. We've had 4 officers killed in one day. We've had suicides of officers in Oakland. But the culminating tip, camel breaking, all the things, I was almost executed in 2016. I was, again, a sergeant traveling to a call to help out a sergeant, T-boned in the middle of an intersection, pushed over 3 lanes, driver's side, couldn't open my door. Guy comes on my passenger side window, starts shooting at me while I'm stuck in the car. That was my worst but best incident because I'm here alive talking to you today.
Yes.
And I get to tell this story. But still, it changed everything. I was actually in the Army Reserves. I was a captain. That left. That went away. Policing went away. My identity was tied up in all of it. And so my identity was stripped. I went through the ups and downs of depression, you name it, drinking copious amounts of tequila, you name it, and just trying to figure out who I was even in this world. So I would say that was the worst, best time in my life.
Yeah, no, it's just always lessons to be learned from
100%.
tragedies and the things that we see. And I always say this, as much as I don't like asking it, I do, because that is police work.
100%.
Right? That's what you're signing up for. And I don't think people really understand that if you're a young person out there that's trying to apply to become a police officer, you know what? Something like this can happen to you. Something so tragic you're going to see, and it's going to stay with you. So yeah, get the help. I'm so happy to know that our beloved profession, mental wellness, is at the forefront now, where before, 20, 25, 26 years ago, they're like, just move on, kid, move on to the next call. And you have all this trauma, right? And so I appreciate you sharing all that. But now that we got all that stuff out of the way, let's talk about some good stuff, man. ATM. Okay, look, Paul's a good dude. I've been following Paul.
He's
doing such great work. Talk about someone who is so driven. And I think at one point, it almost seems so self-serving, but I think once, because he had a goal, right? He was very driven. Once you got into law enforcement, that kind of all went away, because the brotherhood and the sisterhood is just, Brothers in Blue, it resonates with you for the rest of your life. Talk to me. How did you meet him, and what are we doing, and what's going on?
Yeah, absolutely, man. So definitely switching up something more positive, right? But what was I gonna say? I actually started an ATM business.
Okay.
In the Northeast. Paul Alex, who you had on, he started it in the West Coast at around the same time. We met on just a random ATM like Facebook group, like, hey, ATM business, and I didn't even know he was a cop, but I got a message from him, and he's like, hey, what's up, bro? I'm a detective. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I was like, who is this dude? But I would see him on the Facebook groups, and he reached out to me, and, we would talk and stuff like that. And when he first launched his ATM Facebook group, I was like being a little happy helper, pretending they're like, hey, guys, this is how you install ATM. He'd give me a little fist bump. And he actually reached out to me to work for him like 2 years prior, but before the IA. So I always had that like in my inbox, but I didn't pay any mind. And actually, when I was getting jammed up and stuff, I remember that DM. And I was like, hey, brother, I'm pretty sure I'm about to get terminated. And he was like, dude, don't worry about it. I'll take care of you. Let me know what happens. Because he had a similar experience, so he could really resonate with me. He was like, dude, I understand how it is. Your boys ain't going to hit you up anymore, blah, blah. So shout out to Paul. I ended up getting terminated. But I'm a big believer that stuff happens for a reason. Even when I was in IA and I was taken off the road, remember, guys, I was super proactive. In my mind, I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm off the road because I would have pulled someone over, got shot, maybe been paraplegic, maybe been dead. So I'm a big believer in that. So once I got terminated, I reached out to Paul. At this point, guys, I had over 25 ATMs around New York and Connecticut, and I was generating between $15,000 to $20,000 a month. Right, tax time is usually people go crazy on it, and the stim checks and all that stuff. So I was making good money with the ATMs, and one of the reasons why I got into the ATMs is because I got taken off overtime. I was an overtime whore, guys. Like the lieutenant called me. I was like, yes, sir. Energy drink, bang energy drink. And I was out the door. Right.
Me and you both.
Yeah, man. I saw the white monster. So I drink like 3-4 energy drinks. I would work a ton of overtime, married, 3 kids. So one thing that always really stuck with me, and this could happen to any officer. It doesn't matter if you're a golden boy or if you're not, is that as a police officer, we are one call away from it going away, guys. And I'm not just talking about IA. You can get hurt on the job. A lot of guys get hurt. Something could happen where now let's keep it real, guys. Our salary ain't going to cover living expenses. You have to work overtime. So if that overtime gets taken away for whatever reason, even if there's like a new politician and they're like, hey, why are the cops over here making $200,000, right? And the principal superintendent's making, only $150,000. We got to cut down on the cops, right? Even if a new politician comes, now your overtime gets cut. What are you going to do? Because let's keep it real. Most cops live their lifestyle on their overtime. We're all on the patrol lot. We see the lifted pickup trucks. We see the jet skis. Everyone's on vacation, right? So that's when I met Paul. went all in with him on the digital marketing stuff. Paul pivoted over to those terminals, the credit card terminals, which, by the way, I heard someone's going to be getting a lot of donut shops around here. So
Yeah,
shout
dude, I'm
out to that.
fascinated that.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome.
Gotta get something like that.
Dude,
Dude, get something going, bro.
And the thing is, when you're a police officer, let's keep it real. We all got the gift of gab. We
Yeah.
can talk to people anytime.
Yeah.
So
Got the Riz.
Exactly, that's it. So it's really easy for us to talk to people. So when I was a police officer, I'd be at construction sites. I'd be going to the gas station. Shout out to my boys out there in the gas stations, giving us coffees and all that stuff. But you had that rapport already with them. So I'd see an owner or something like that, and I'm like, hey, man, I got this little ATM stuff on the side. You want me to throw it in there? Hell yeah, sure. So I was able to build it up and get it to the point where it was now basically covering my overtime, right? Because my salary was probably about $5,000, union dues, all the taxes taking it away. So when Paul pivoted over to the credit card terminals, he was like, dude, right? I moved down to Miami, right? Which I know all the Northeast cops, we want to do that when we're like 55, 60, we're retired. But kind of like what we're talking about, and I hate to say this, guys, but we got to keep it real. A lot of cops, when they retire, I hate to say it, guys, a couple months later, GoFundMe.
Yeah.
And then you see somebody that was like a detective, lieutenant, a captain, someone you looked up to, and they literally had to do GoFundMe, which means what? That when they passed away, they didn't have enough funds to cover certain stuff for their wife and their family.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of watching this, and I'm like, you want to know what? If I could find a way to help not only, other military members, but police officers, first responders, make a couple hundred, make a couple $1,000, God forbid something happens, you at least have those ATMs. And guys, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be vending machines, credit card terminals. You just have to do something, because the biggest risk, and I'm not trying to be a sales boy or nothing, guys. I don't give a crap if you guys buy a apartment building and rent it out. But do something, guys. You're making good money. The cruise could wait for a year. Disney could wait for a year. Just start a little side gig. That's it. All the firefighters, they all got side gigs. They're all plumbers.
Yeah.
They're all doing
Yeah.
HVAC.
That's facts.
Yeah.
They're all doing that. For us cops, when we talk about making money, we're talking about how many hours of overtime are we going to work, guys.
Oh, yeah.
That's facts.
Just do a little side gig. So I started with the ATM business. To this day, guys, I have over 100 machines.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and most of them are in the Northeast, so I have loaders, people that load it for me. And to keep it super simple, that annoying surcharge that you see, where you're like, damn, why? Like you were talking about, you went to 7-Eleven, they charge you $4.
$4, dude. And
Yeah.
then in Vegas, it's like $6.
Dude, yeah, Vegas 6. And
WTF, bro?
dude, I know, but guess what? You hit that little green button, the receipt prints out.
And you need
the money
the
comes
money.
out.
And
Yeah, you need it.
You
need
got it.
it.
You got to go.
You got to go to it, right?
You
The
know,
valet.
Yeah, I don't mean to
all that
interrupt,
stuff.
but
No, get
in
after it, brother.
Vegas, bro, because I love, I love doing my parlays.
Hell yeah, dude.
So I go to the shout out to South Point
Hell yeah.
Hotel, and I go there and I go there, and but my first time I went there, I'm like, cool, you know what? I'm just gonna go and fill out the sheet, and they're out. No, they give you what was it?
Like a voucher or
No,
something?
I'm sorry. Yeah, you go to the ATM. And it spits out like a receipt.
Yep.
And in that receipt, you got to go to the cashier to cash it.
Yep. You could do that too. You could do like a little voucher in the ATMs. But that's where you get them, man. But super simple.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Let's say if you have an ATM, you have a $4 fee.
Yes.
Right. Got a little side gig. 200 people use it. $800 a month. Now you get 10 of them. That's $8,000.
Yeah.
And I know as a fact, every single police officer knows those cash businesses.
Yeah.
Where they're sending people, whether it's a barber shop, whether it's a corner store. Because in the Northeast in Connecticut, you could only buy lottery tickets with cash.
Yeah.
You couldn't use cards.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I would target those. But yeah, just start a side gig, guys. So that's what I'm doing now, and I help other officers, military members, or just regular 9-to-5ers, nurses, get into that and help them get locations, everything above reproach, and just start a side gig, guys.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is I got my kids involved with it. So like my older son, he's got a route of like 10, 15 of them. So instead of him coming to me for a car, I'm like, dude, that surcharge has been hitting your account since you were freaking 12 years old. Yeah. So they could just pull the money out. A lot of crazy stuff you could do with it, man. That's what I've been doing. I'm blessed. And once again, guys, not to get too into the karma and stuff like that, but I'm a big believer that stuff happens for a reason. Because let's keep it real, guys. If it wasn't for that situation that happened, your boy would still be out there pounding those Bang energy drinks and working that OT, giving out parking tickets, right? So.
Yeah, no, I thank you for
And I wouldn't
sharing.
have met you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
you're a very amazing individual, man.
Thank
Your
you.
energy, man. It's really great where you're bringing.
Yeah, I try.
Yeah.
I'm out
You're
to
gonna-
get an
you're gonna
ATM
hit it big,
machine or
man.
something. I got to do that. Nadia, talk to me. How did this all go down, and how did we transition? And you know, how's that journey been?
So it's been interesting. So the day that happened to me, the incident I was talking about earlier, I was actually in the CFP program, a Certified Financial Planning program at Berkeley.
Okay.
And so everything, like I said, everything stopped. My life stopped. So I had to work on rebuilding myself first. You said something earlier about being self-servant. I think that is hopefully important before you can serve. Because you have to serve yourself before you start pouring into anything or anybody else.
100%.
Because you will 100% be depleted and then burnt out if you don't do that in that order. And so after years and years of rebuilding, I actually was in cognitive therapy for a while. I had to relearn certain skill sets, even how to read out loud again, just because of the trauma and just some other stuff that happened. So I saw Paul one day. I was off social media. I saw Paul one day, and some of my old people I worked with told me about it. I was just like, what is this? And there was another guy he used to work with too that I knew a little bit better than Paul. And they said that they're doing this thing out in Miami and you should hit him up. And so I started following him on social media and I was just like, oh, this is real. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah.
So I reached out to get him, that was his partner at the time, and I went to a mastermind out in Atlanta called InvestFest. It's a big investment festival, 20,000 people. And they gave me a VIP pass, so I got to see all the background stuff, got to mingle with them a little bit, and I was sold on these two things because they reached out to me in such a way, were genuine about it, and two, I know the work ethic it takes to work at Oakland. So they weren't just some online folks. They were real people that I've seen, even though I didn't know them that well personally. I seen them. I know how Oakland gets down. So it was something I could latch onto tangibly and trust.
Yes.
And so talking with Paul, talking with Gedem, I was all in. So I'm less than a year in this. I just signed my 13th merchant account. Been talking with Gianni about ATMs, like trying to understand that, because these are intensive industries. Like don't get it twisted. These are intensive industries.
Of course.
If you do them right.
Yeah.
Just like as a cop,
There's always
just like this,
competition.
there has to be. You need to be ethical when you do this.
100%.
And so I'm now a coach within CashWipe, and I'm also doing some admin work within CashWipe. I'm not going to reveal what exactly I do, but I do a lot. I do some good stuff. And
She's amazing. She's amazing. She's too humble.
it's absolutely fascinating to see the monster just in the greatness that is Paul and what he's created, and to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And I don't say that lightly. And I'm just blessed to even be in this position right now, to be on a podcast, talking to IA guy, Marlon, sitting with Mr. 100 ATM machines. Gianni's a beast. And just, we did a mastermind yesterday in LA, over 200 people. I got to speak on stage and tell my story. Like, I've been on Paul's podcast myself. Like, I've been out in Miami. Like, what a dream. And it's just staying present, serving yourself before, keeping in mind that service is the end result of being self-servant.
Yes.
And just keep grinding 1% a day. And that's been my mentality, because I had to dig myself out of the deepest, darkest depression hole you can't even imagine.
Yeah.
And I'm here, I'm a walking testament to what you can do when you plug in with the right people.
Yeah.
And you just tap into who you are and who you want to be.
Yeah, no. One thing that I didn't get to share with Paul also is how he spent, a lot of time working overtime. We talked about overtime. I believe, yes, I think that a lot of law enforcement, not all, we depend on supplemental income. That is a God-given truth in this profession. When I started listening and watching Paul, he was way smarter than I was, in a sense that he always had a goal. He kept, I guess the best way to describe it is that he kept his eye on the prize, right? Where me, just a little to share, because we just barely met. I spent 20 years working 6-7 days a week. And you know what? All it got me was a divorce and time away from my daughter, just to make to that next Wednesday. We get paid every other Wednesday.
Right.
And so it's almost a blessing and a calling. God does his best work through people. where I met Paul online, and it makes me realize that with the podcast and what I'm doing, what I'm doing now, I really feel that I have a lot of purpose, right? You're relevant. Not to say that in law enforcement, you know, with my beloved LAPD, that I didn't have purpose. I mean, I was a sergeant. Yeah, I could have made lieutenant, probably could have ended up command staff and be relevant. But man, let me tell you, my journey here has been way, way more relevant and more purposeful because I'm teaching, right? I'm through, not me, right? Through my guests to say, hey, you know what? When you go through an IA, this is what you can do, what you can't do, do's and don'ts, pros and cons, and just be careful if this happens. So I couldn't thank you enough for showing up. Really pumped up about what you guys are going through. And I'm going to leave you guys with this. So I'm going to leave the floor up to you, Gianni. Anyone who wants to come on the job, right, to become a police officer, what kind of advice do you have for them?
Great question, man. The biggest advice I would say, guys, is to make sure that it's something you want to do. So come in it with a clean heart and that you want to help people. Because being in law enforcement, I'd be lying to you guys if I told you I didn't miss it, right? And the reason why I miss it is because you're able to do like a direct impact. And I'm talking about the stuff that you do when no one's watching, the camera's not on, the homeless guy that you put into your car and put on some heat and get a coffee and a sandwich. The cameras aren't there, your sergeant isn't there, it's just you. Like stuff like that that you do really makes a big impact. So as long as you have a clean heart, you're passionate about it, and guys, you could make really good money, really good benefits, and then use that to level up, right, in life and do something else. So my biggest advice, just come in with a clean heart, be passionate, and also learn from other individuals' mistakes. Because like what Marlon was saying, you know, how he's super passionate about this and purposeful, right? If we could change anything and help anybody, right, I think that it's all worth it, especially, right, newer officers coming on. So you guys learn from our mistakes, don't make that, and also live a very purposeful life. Because you could definitely do that in law enforcement, especially now, because when I got in, there was like 2,000 people just for the agility test. I believe now on the East Coast, they're giving like bonuses, like 40, 50,000 just to sign up.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely spiraled down
big
to
time.
want to become a cop. So, Nadia, what do you think? What kind of advice you have for someone who wants to become a cop?
Well, just with anything, you need to have a good knowledge base. Know your laws, know the case law, know your policies and procedures within the department, understand different personalities, and then while you're learning and moving along in your career, like Gianni said, have those goals, be committed, and have passion, because this is not a job you just go into and have a job. Like, this will take from you. So if something like this to work to your benefit, you have to be committed. But with that said, get that damn side hustle going, because that overtime, it may dry up.
Yep.
The politicians will come in, like Gianni said earlier, I don't like that they're making this money, even though it has nothing to do with their pockets or anybody else.
Yep.
They make the ultimate decision. And I remember I worked during the crash of '08. I know you were working too. All overtime dried up in California. And you had people, I can't even tell how many cops lost their homes. I watched it. Like 600, they bought 500, 600, $700,000 homes, just gone. Boats, gone. Marriages, gone.
Yeah.
So prepare yourself for the worst day while keeping your eye on the prize. Like, yes, this is a fantastic career. You can definitely do 20, 30 years, but also have this side in mind, because at the end of the day, when this job leaves, your family will still be there.
Yes.
The people you love will still be there, hopefully.
Yep.
So make sure you nurture that as well.
Yeah, no, amen to that. Well, it's time to say goodbye. Listen, thank you so much for showing up. We're going to wrap it up. Look, please be safe out there, and don't forget to go Code 6. Thank you.